the state of confusion. Trump tells govs to liberate their states. Protests pop up in different cities around the country. Frustrations and fear, sharp contrast. Denver, powerful images of hospital workers blocking protesters. What is going on out there? What is happening, Joy? What grabbed you about that yesterday?
Well, you know, let me first say that we are lucky to be able to be working from home, all of us. And I feel for these people who are losing their jobs. I really do. But they have to understand that they can infect other people. And, to paraphrase Patrick Henry, give me liberty and give me death is what they're basically proposing. Because a lot of people are going to die because of this behavior. You know, and it's already been shown that self-quarantining, or whatever you want to call it, besides distancing and PPEs, has been working. It works. I was looking up Sweden, one of my favorite countries. Well, they really screwed up. They have had this policy where everyone can go out and do what they have to do and use your own judgment. Don't gather in groups more than 50 people, which is a lot of people, by the way. They've closed the schools, yes, they have, but people are in restaurants. Right. Now they have 17 times the rate of their fellow Scandinavian countries, Norway, Finland, etc. Right. So it has not worked. It doesn't work. Stay home. And by the way, can I just make one more point? These people are being egged on by right-wing media and people like Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh. And why are you bringing guns to a rally? You want to call yourself protesters, leave your guns home. Those are terrorists who bring guns to things, to rallies. I don't trust that at all. And
Sonny,
don't listen to these people. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. Sonny, what's your opinion about what's going on?
Well, you know, what really disturbed me was the president's tweets. You know, you have the president saying things like liberate Virginia, and then also in the same sentence bringing up the Second Amendment. And to Joy's point, you know, you saw protesters with guns. And I think, you know, he's in a sense implying an incited insurrection. You know, I think the argument can be made that he is inciting violence by these tweets. He's inciting government insurrection, and many people are saying, well, it's his free speech. But the Supreme Court has found many times that, you know, if you're inciting lawlessness that's leading to violence, that type of speech isn't protected. And so I'm just shocked that we have the President of the United States, again, inciting this kind of behavior, inciting these protests. I mean, if you look at Kentucky, what was fascinating to me was right after a week of protests to reopen up the state, Kentucky reported the highest coronavirus infection increase that it's had. You now have in Kentucky 273 new confirmed cases of the virus. I mean, what about, you know, stay at home, to save lives? Don't people understand?
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Megan? You're split in between all of this, yes?
Yeah, I continue to be split on it because I see those kind of protesters with guns, and I understand that for a lot of people watching this show, that may seem very foreign and it may seem violent, but it's perfectly normal to me and it's perfectly legal in the states that they did it in, and it's a culture symbol. Anyone who's bringing a gun to a rally is obviously showing which side of the gun argument they're on, which is an argument that's being brought up in these type of protests. I also think it sort of reminds me of the learn to code controversy when politicians were going into places like West Virginia and telling coal miners who were out of work that they needed to switch jobs and learn to code. We are all lucky and need to check our privilege that we can work from home from a computer and we're all gainfully employed. Nobody on the show has to worry about how we're going to feed our family, if we're going to continue working. And there are a lot of people in this country who are in pain, who are out of work, who are losing their homes. And I think when people are scared and are in pain, they start to panic. And it doesn't look like there's any resolution to this coming on in the future. I know President Trump laid out his, 3-phase plan, and it all hinges on whether or not the first phase works to get to the second. And I think when people are looking down the barrel of the inability to feed their children, to send their children to college, to possibly lose their homes, I understand the anger and the pain. Do I also understand that people don't want to infect other people? I certainly don't want any more people to get sick or die. Obviously, I don't think anyone wants that.
No.
But I do think there has to be some kind of balance with this. And there seems to be this, again, culture war between people in the middle of the country and people on the coast. And I know even for me, I've seen some people in the media, nobody on this show, but I've seen media figures complaining and talking about their fear. And again, even for me, I want to say, check your privilege. You are not someone, we are not people who are going to be impacted in the same way that somebody making minimum wage in the middle of the country is. And I think part of this is people reacting to a lot of the commentary that we've been seeing.
Right. For me, it's kind of freaky because I saw protesters wearing masks and gloves, and I thought, well, if you don't think it's that serious, what are you doing? Because for me, it's very simple. You either get us the testing, they don't have it. Get us the inoculations, they don't have that. The only thing that seems to be working is the social distancing. Now, if you infect my mother or you infect my grandmother because you feel like you need to get back to work, how is that going to help if we're all in the midst of it? I understand nobody wants to be out of work. Everybody would rather be working. But it doesn't seem like making it about politics is going to make that happen. This is about what do we do to not pass this on to little kids so they get sick and die? What do we do to not pass this on to your aunt who will get sick and die? And believe me, this thing doesn't care how old you are. The coronavirus doesn't care about your age. It doesn't care. All it wants to do is it wants to be up and personal. We know that. We've seen the people die. This conversation is one we're going to have every day until we figure it out.